Live from Red Zone Weather, this is a severe weather update.
Tornadoes possible in the overnight hours as potential tropical cyclone number 3 moves north. The system is on the cusp of making landfall in the next 12 hours in Louisiana. The center of circulation back here, most of the impact's going to be on the eastern side, and that is where our local area happens to be. Good Friday evening to you. I'm meteorologist Spinks Megginson. We're glad you're with us. This is our first tropical season locally this year, and already we are beginning to see heavy rain at times, especially near the Alabama and northwest Florida beaches. Deep tropical moisture now filling in across our region. As you can see, this fire hose of convection that continues to train around the loosely defined center of circulation of potential tropical cyclone number 3. This is not yet Tropical Storm Claudette, and it may not become Tropical Storm Claudette if the system moves on shore over the next 6 to 12 hours without forming a low-level center. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Let's get in there and look at the system as it stands right now, because the National Hurricane Center has issued their 7 p.m. advisory. Maximum sustained winds with this are around 40 to 45 miles per hour, well away from the center of circulation. Those 40-mile-per-hour winds are happening in the bands out and through here, out in this deep convection. But notice just how devoid of rain and thunderstorms that center of circulation is. It's a very dry slot in through here as southwesterly shear continues to pound this system and push all that convection off to the east. Here's the last of the visible satellite frames, and keep in mind, to get these beautiful visible frames, you have to have sunlight. And so these images were actually taken right before we started this video, about an hour before sunset, just so we could kind of look in here and see the center of circulation. You can kind of see it right in through there. There's that swirl. And please note that this is not a low-level center of circulation. To have a tropical storm, you have to have a low-level center. In other words, a swirl of clouds fairly close to the surface of the earth, and we are just not seeing that. Yes, there is a mid-level rotation in through here, but not rooted at the surface. And again, this thing is coming in to Louisiana very quickly, and so it's not going to be long until that broad center is on shore somewhere near Grand Isle, Louisiana, probably in about 6 to 8 hours, if that. And so running out of time for this thing to strengthen, and so that is a good thing. We are not anticipating this to be a hurricane. Nowhere close. In fact, maximum sustained winds are probably at their peak right now, again, in these outer rain bands here of 30 to 40 miles per hour. That's why we now have a tropical storm warning in effect for all of our local beaches, from Dauphin Island all the way back over to Destin in northwest Florida. Rain going to continue moving inland over the next several hours. We'll come back at the very end and do a detailed analysis of the local radar. But right now, we do have some heavier bands of rain currently impacting areas near Pensacola, back up to areas like Mobile, Fairhope, Daphne, also Foley, areas near Pensacola Beach, heavier band of rain right now. So that's the story over the next few hours, more in the way of rain. In fact, these numbers have come up. This is the total forecast rain amounts over the next 5 days in total, but it's all going to happen really over the next 24 to 48 hours. We're talking about 10 inches of rain near the Alabama beaches over the next 48 hours. We'll come back and look at the total rain and flash flooding projections in just a minute, but I want to show you the future radar as to how this might shake out in the overnight hours. So over the next few hours, we're expecting more rain to continue to move on shore, especially across South Alabama, Northwest Florida, and Southeast Mississippi. If you're back here in Louisiana, it's going to be fairly dry. Yes, there will be scattered showers around, but nowhere near what those of us here in Southwest Alabama and Northwest Florida will have in the overnight hours. That look is valid at 7 o'clock in the morning, and if that happens to be right, heavy rain in progress, and then scattered showers and thunderstorms as we go into the middle part of your Saturday. So yes, there will be heavy rain in the morning most likely, but then by the time we get to the afternoon and evening, perhaps perhaps we will begin to see some dry slots in the rain. And the good news is we likely will get a break on Saturday night before more heavy rain becomes possible on Sunday. Here's the local view, and let's again talk through this because we will have showers and thunderstorms streaming in from the south overnight. That's valid at 11 o'clock this evening, showing heavier rain here across parts of Washington, Mobile, Baldwin, and Escambia County there in Florida. By the time we get to 3 a.m., could have numerous showers and thunderstorms around, some of which could be producing tornadoes. You got to have a way to receive those warnings before you go to sleep because we may have a few tornadoes in the overnight hours extending into Saturday morning. And again, by the time we get to midday, maybe a few dry slots in the rain and storms will become more scattered in nature. By the way, by the time we get to tomorrow afternoon and evening, the overall tornado risk should be much lower as the core of potential tropical cyclone number 3 or maybe even Claudette will be gone to our north. So again, maybe a few tornadoes in the overnight hours. Please have a way to get those warnings. Here's the convective outlook, and this is what we often look at, especially in the spring and the fall months when we have these severe weather risks set up. Same thing in a tropical system. We have a level 2 out of 5 tornado risk. This is not for hail or damaging, winds from a squall line or anything like that. This is a tornado risk, and this involves our entire local area. It doesn't specifically matter whether you're in the green zone or the yellow zone this time. We all have a tornado risk tonight. So again, I need you to have a way to get those urgent weather warnings before you go to sleep, like a NOAA weather radio. Our Red Zone Weather app is great, but we also encourage you to have multiple ways to get the warnings just in case you happen to go under a tornado warning in the overnight hours. In addition to tornadoes, flash flooding will be a concern. We're talking 9 to 10 inches of rain in the official quantitative precipitation forecast for places like Bay Minette, back down to Loxley, areas near Fairhope, Daphne, Spanish Fort, Point Clear, back over to Bayou La Battery, Alabama Port, and Dauphin Island. If you're in Northwest Florida, 7 to 9 inches of rain across Escambia, Santa Rosa, Okaloosa counties. And so big time rain in Northwest Florida as well. But generally speaking, the farther you go inland, places like Thomasville, back over to Coffeyville, Camden, perhaps less in the way of total rain, with much of the rain locally happening here in coastal Alabama, Northwest Florida, and near and perhaps just to the east of Interstate 65. Andalusia, Bruton, Brooklyn, Evergreen, back over to Opp, probably going to have between 6 and 7 inches of rain. And then communities back to the west, Monroeville, Uri, areas near Huxford, Citronelle, going to have between 4 and 5 inches of rain in total. So a big rainy night coming up with flash flooding being possible not only here, but also extending over into Georgia by the time we get into the morning hours. A flash flood watch is now in effect for many counties in central Alabama over into Georgia and in our local area. However, I will say, even though we do all have a flash flooding risk tonight, clearly the greatest risk is going to be here in parts of Mobile, Baldwin, and Escambia counties there. Escambia in Northwest Florida, and of course Mobile and Baldwin in South Alabama, where 6 to 10 inches of rain will likely be the norm over the next 48 hours. But again, it doesn't specifically matter if you're in the orange or the red on this map. You have a flash flooding risk in the overnight hours. And that's why, again, a flash flood watch does continue through Sunday for our entire local area. Now, let's get in there and talk about the wind impacts. We haven't really focused on that much over the last few days, and that's because we are not expecting wind damage, widespread wind damage anyway, farther inland. If you are north of Interstate 10, the risk of you having wind damage is very, very low. Now, if we get these brief spin-up tornadoes, those can cause damage in localized areas, but the wind from the system, in other words, potential tropical cyclone number 3, Claudette, if you will, if it takes that name, likely to be limited inland. But we do have a tropical storm warning in effect for coastal Mobile County, coastal Baldwin County, and Escambia, Santa Rosa, Okaloosa counties as well, near the immediate coast. If you're farther inland in places like Century, Molino, back over to Berrydale and Munson, you're okay. You're not in a warning. But Pensacola, Gulf Breeze, areas near Navarre, Mariester, Destin, Fort Walton, all involved in a tropical storm warning. This was actually extended this morning. It did include Alabama last night, but now this goes all the way over to Destin in Northwest Florida. And it's in place because of this, 20 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts being possible in the overnight hours. In addition, rip currents, a big, big deal. I know that we got folks that have come down from the north, coming down here on vacation to the local beaches, and by chance, if you're seeing this broadcast tonight, please do not get in the water. We've got double red flags flying at Orange Beach and several other local beaches. Don't be a bonehead and get in the water. Same thing here with a high surf advisory. That means high waves are going to continue not only tonight, but into Saturday and Sunday as well. Rip currents have killed far too many people in our local area. So there it is. It's potential tropical cyclone number 3. It may become tropical storm Claudette briefly before landfall, but even if it doesn't, I've had so many questions today about the naming and the classification, and honestly, that, it doesn't make a hill of beans of a difference, what it is. If it's a potential tropical cyclone or tropical storm, the impacts for your location are going to be the same. Whatever name it takes, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. The impacts are the same for you. Very heavy rain, flash flooding, maybe a few tornadoes and gusty winds near the immediate beaches, in addition to minor storm surge and potentially even coastal flooding. Let's get in there and look at some of the images that I've had today. This was sent in from Brittany Gilbert just a bit earlier. You can kind of see perhaps the leading edge of the storms currently moving through western Escambia County, Alabama. That's from Brittany Gilbert. Here's one from Ditto Gourmet there in Atmore. You can see kind of a shelf cloud there with the storms moving north. Another good one, this is from Allison Bell, taken at the Tom Thumb on US Highway 29 near Molino. Shelf cloud looking to the west there, and you also can see some scud clouds in the distance. Creepy looking clouds. They're really harmless, but nonetheless they are creepy looking. And here's a video. This is from Elizabeth Manis, and this is at Orange Beach, showing the waves this evening. You can see that we do have ongoing whitecaps there in the distance. This was taken at Orange Beach a bit earlier today, and you're going to have views just like that coming in tomorrow as well. There's the 7-day forecast, but let's go back because I do want to go to the radar quickly and show you exactly what's happening across the region. As it stands right now, we do have showers and thunderstorms that continue to move inland from the Gulf. Heavier rain happening right now near Uri, back down to areas near Bradley, extending to Baker and Crestview. Overall, though, all this mess of rain is going to continue to lift in from the Gulf in the overnight hours, and rain will be the norm. I can't stress that enough. Could have flash flooding issues in the overnight hours. Let's first go into areas here near Covington and Conecuh counties. So far, pretty dry today in those two counties. We do see some storms coming into areas near Repton, Alabama Highway 41 near Range as well. We'll go back up to Clark County and areas here in Monroe County because we are beginning to see those storms come in to areas here near the Highway 21 corridor, Uri, back up to XL, Frisco City. Storms moving into those communities well below severe limits, I might add. We'll go down into Mobile and Baldwin counties, inland areas, and this is just rain. This is nothing severe. We do note that there are some heavier batches of rain coming into southern Monroe, southern Conecuh, areas here near Huxford, just north of the interstate there. Also got some showers right now happening near Bruton, East Bruton, back down to Riverview. We'll go over to northwest Florida and show you right now that we do have heavier bands of rain coming through areas here near State Highway 4 from Berrydale back over to Baker. These storms going to lift northward into Covington and Escambia counties in Alabama over the next few minutes. We'll go back to the beaches, the Alabama beaches, because we do have rain in progress there. Dauphin Island, back over to Gulf Shores, Fort Morgan, Orange Beach. This is simply rain. There is nothing on radar that would indicate an imminent tornado threat. And let's see if we can do a quick wide view across the region, because we do continue to watch these bands of storms that move inland. And I will say there has been some broad rotation in these storms south of Destin, about 50 to 100 miles south of Destin. We'll be watching those over the next few hours, but we've noted kind of a weakening trend once storms are moving north. Eventually that's going to erode, and we probably will see some rotating thunderstorms near the coast in the overnight hours. So again, it can't be stressed enough. Please have a way to get those urgent tornado warnings in the overnight hours. I'll have plenty of updates coming over the next few hours in the Red Zone Weather app. And of course, if we happen to have tornado warnings, be sure to join me on Facebook Live as we talk you through it every step of the way. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know in the comments below if you're watching on Facebook Live. Plenty of comments coming in on Twitter over the last hour as well, and good questions as well. Keep them coming. Keep those pictures and images coming as well. We certainly appreciate all the ground truth views from across our region. On behalf of all of us at Red Zone Group LLC, I'm meteorologist Spinks Megginson saying goodbye for now. I hope you and your family have a good evening. We will see you soon.